New ships, 3
Shields.
wings, shields,
It's
fast,
cool, it's
fast,
fast.
zoom, pew, pew.
We got our intro.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to the weekly Q&A. Real quick, before questions, we need to send a shout out and a thank you to Lego Mace Windu Corps, who joined our Patreon at the Jedi Council level, which is insanely generous, so thank you so much for joining.
Samuel Masson asks if and how we would like to see other sequel trilogy characters appear in the new Jedi Order movie.
Yes, I definitely want, specifically Finn. I feel like Finn is the character that, assuming John Boyega wants to come back, which he seems like he's been more open to that more recently, I really want to see him as a Jedi Knight.
Same. I think it would just make sense, you know? Like, we got hints in the Lego special, the summer special, that Rey was training him, and we got a lot of hints about him potentially being Force sensitive in The Rise of Skywalker, so I would love to see him come back. And I do think it's a little funny that everyone's been talking about Finn. What about Poe, though?
Well, hold on. I want to stick on Finn for a little bit. Happy to have Poe as well.
I just think people should give Poe a little credit, too.
Yeah. Well, I think people want Finn because The Rise of Skywalker just did the hints that, like, oh, he is Force sensitive. I think they really strongly hinted, especially in the shot where, like, he feels Rey die. That to me is like, yep, that is Force sensitivity. But I wish it weren't just hints and they took it a step further, which it seems a little weird that, yeah, the Lego specials are the ones that, like, Obi-Wan's Force Ghost called him a Jedi, like, explicitly. And he had all of these Force Ghosts coming and educating him and helping him out. And it does show Rey training Finn and them kind of figuring this out together. I would love to see that on the big screen. I think John Boyega wanted that chance. I think he deserves that chance if he wants it now. So yeah, Finn is the one that I really want if I can only pick one, but I would happily welcome Poe back as well.
Yeah, I think the Finn stuff, like, a lot of people have said, you know, John Boyega sounded like he never wanted to return to Star Wars after the direction that they took Finn's character arc. But I think this is the opportunity to fix that. If he comes back and they're like, hey, can you please come back? We want you to be a Jedi. We want you to be training with Rey. Like, that feels like something he would be like, okay, this is kind of what I wanted from the start. I'm in.
And if it's 15 years in the future, like, I don't think he'd be a Padawan anymore. I think he and Rey would be equals. Like, they might have people to train. Like, I could see him being the second in command to the new Jedi Order and, like, teaching the next generation. I think that would be cool. I want to see what color his lightsaber is, what he wears as a Jedi. Like, there's just, I've seen such cool fan art of Finn as a Jedi, or like mods for Battlefront 2 where they've made him cool costumes and stuff. I want to see that. Poe also, we don't know, maybe they could roll some of the Rogue Squadron storyline into that. If they are putting that idea as a film away, but they could still use some of those ideas. I'd still want to see him as just one hell of a pilot.
Yeah, I mean, is he still acting as a general of the New Republic at this time, or the New Republic, whatever,
yeah, whatever they are,
whatever the body of government is going to look like? Is he going to be a part of that, or has he maybe by then wanted to settle down with someone?
Yeah. I mean, I think
I struggle to say that because I feel like him and Finn should be able to settle down.
Yeah. Well, it's they made it clear that I think Poe goes both ways. He likes Zori Bliss, but I think the Resistance Reborn book was like Rebecca Roanhorse. I'm like, I think she's a Finn Poe shipper for sure.
I mean, there's a lot of us out there.
I mean, yeah, and it's what it was in the Leia Princess of Alderaan book, Claudia Gray wrote, it's Holdo, I think. She's like, oh, you only like boys? That sounds boring. Like,
yeah.
It's just...
yeah, like young Holdo says that to Leia. She's
yeah.
like, oh, well, you do you, girl.
Yeah, and it's like, it seems like that's just in Star Wars, that's where people are. Mm-hmm. It's more widely accepted. And so Poe, whoever I just want him to be happy, but I still want him to be best friends at least with Finn. But going to, let's say, Ben Solo would be the next one.
I would love it if he could be a Force ghost and would be able to talk to Rey.
I mean, I think that is how it should be. That's something else that if he wants to come back, if Adam Driver wants to come back, he faded away, his body disappeared. He should be a Force ghost. And again, the Lego specials brought that up. Like, it showed him as a Force ghost. So basically just take what the Lego specials are doing and make it in live action on the big screen.
Yeah. And I could see other characters being able to come in as Force ghosts too. Like, this would be a good opportunity to bring Leia back, because I think the whole like CGI face deepfake stuff, it would look better as a Force ghost, I think.
I say we leave that alone.
Okay.
Only because I don't think we should keep doing the Grand Moff Tarkin, Carrie Fisher, like, just because we can doesn't mean we should. But as a Force
ghost, like, keep it kind of
I'm not talking about
focused,
whether
like,
or not it looks good. I just don't want them to keep on bringing back actors who have passed away just because they can.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I say bring back Obi-Wan, bring back Luke, bring back Qui-Gon, Yoda. Like, we never got Force Ghost Con. We kind of got it with the voices, but I would like to see... I think it'd be cool to have a bunch of Force ghosts passing on their knowledge visibly.
Yeah. And you could also argue that, you know, Rey has learned everything she's needed to learn from those people.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's 15 years in the future. Also, I think it's worth pointing out that there were other casting rumors surrounding this movie, and we don't know that Rey will be the main character, whether or not she'll be like a supporting character. I don't know what all these actors are feeling like now, because like you said, immediately after, John Boyega and Oscar Isaac were both like, I'm done with Star Wars. But more recently, they're like, well, maybe not. So I think there's potential for them to come back, but they might say, like, I'll come in as a supporting role.
Right.
When you need a Jedi to come in and save the day, here come Rey and Finn and like a bunch of little younglings with lightsabers.
Yeah. And someone like, you know, Kelly Marie Tran went through a lot during these movies coming out, and if she wanted to come back, I would love it if we could get more of her character of Rose in the story. To go back to Poe a little bit as well, I think both of them, it makes sense for them to have roles in the New Republic. Yeah. Whatever, like Poe's arc was becoming more and more of a leader alongside Leia. Rose just makes sense there. And yeah, I don't want another repeat of like, the general says I have to study schematics. Like, yeah, I can't go on the adventure. Hey everybody, I'll be over here. Yeah, like that seemed weird. And I think too, because this movie's coming out not as an episode 10, but as kind of a standalone type thing, there's not as much pressure on the characters to know that they're in this for another 3 movies. That's true too. So I think it would be easier for someone like Kelly Marie Tran to say, yeah, I'll come in for a supporting role. And she seems like she's been down to come back. She has voiced Rose in the Lego specials, or at least the summer vacation one. So I think there's a chance for all of them to come back. I am not opposed to any of them. In fact, I would be pro all of it. But again, if I had to choose just one, I think Finn is the priority I would like to see. We gotta have Chewie. He can be in pretty much anything. Well, that's, yeah, Chewbacca, 3PO. I don't consider them like sequel trilogy characters because they're just there. It's those are the characters that can be around forever. I'm going to throw in Claude. Just because. Okay, yeah, there you go. Just because I need to know more. We all deserve to know more about Claude. But now in Star Wars Jedi Survivor, we've met another one of those species, and he speaks basic. So yeah, give Claude some speaking lines, or more than just screaming. A sentient? Is that sentient? What's the rock species? Oh, a Ventian. Ventian, yeah. Let's get a geode in there. Oh yeah, I mean, it's got to happen at some point. I think Finn would have some really comedic lines with a rock character, especially what if it was a Jedi rock?
we've never seen that before. I don't know how they'd wield a lightsaber. Not that they have to. Not that all Jedi have to.
They could just use the Force. Yeah, I don't know. Leftist Hominid wants to know if something like the Path of the Open Hand could be Rey's main antagonist. This is interesting because I had this idea like a long, long time ago that going forward after the sequel trilogy, who would be the villain? And I think I said that it would be cool if it were like purists of the Force, which is kind of what the Path of the Open Hand are.
Yeah.
And they would see someone like Rey wanting to restart the Jedi Order and not be cool with that, and like that would be the main villain.
And that's basically what was said at Star Wars Celebration, is that 15 years after the rise of Skywalker, there's a Jedi Master who is trying to start the Jedi Order again, and there's someone out there that doesn't want that to happen. And I don't think we're going to do the Sith again. I think something like the Path of the Open Hand could make sense, where it is just, no, you shouldn't use the Force. And at the very least, it could just be a group that's like agreeing with Luke's ideas at the beginning of The Last Jedi, where it's like, the Jedi always make things worse. And basically someone saying, no, you shouldn't even try to make the galaxy a better place. Mm-hmm. Like kind of maybe like an apathetic villain almost, of like, it's not worth trying, but I am going to try to stop you. That doesn't quite track, but...
Yeah. No, I get what you mean. But like, so far in the High Republic, the villains, because there aren't any Sith around at the time, the villains are way more interesting, more nuanced, more complicated, and getting to know the villains of that time period has been really cool. So I think if we got something like that, because the Sith we know what the Sith are. We've
spent a lot of time with the Sith.
We know their deal. We don't want another empire, which was basically what the First Order was trying to do. So, like, I think, yeah, a more complicated, nuanced villain for Rey in this new film would be better.
Yeah, I don't know that it'll be, like, more complicated or more new. Just different is all I am after, I think, is that we've seen enough of the Sith. And this feels like the second time where it's like the Sith have been destroyed. And this time, like, Rey blew up the throne and the Sith cultists all got pelted with rocks. Like, to me, I'm saying that feels like another final end for the Sith. So doing something like the Path of the Open Hand, or just someone opposed to the Jedi as an idea and being like, this has always been your fault. And it's not, but I could see someone feeling that way about the Jedi and wanting to stop them.
Grogu's wrinkly head asks if Thrawn's new command deck is on the Chimera or on a Chiss ship.
I thought that was an interesting observation, and something I noticed too in the Ahsoka trailer. You see the back of Thrawn and you see his ship, and we see that bridge with Morgan Elsbeth as well. It just looks different. It doesn't look like a Star Destroyer bridge. So what's the deal with that?
I don't know. It didn't strike me as looking that different to me. I assume it was going to be the Chimera, and I feel like there was a shot in The Mandalorian when the Mando ship is flying over and we see the big painted mythosaur skull on it. And I immediately thought, before we got to see the whole thing, I was like, oh my God, it's the Chimera, because he's got that giant symbol on the bottom of his ship. So after seeing that, I was like, oh, that might be a cool setup for him coming in with his ship, with his special drawing on the bottom.
I agree that they might be trying to establish that, hey, some people have things painted on their ships. Get ready. Mm-hmm. I definitely want to see the Chimera, so I'm going to assume that maybe that's not the bridge of the ship. It could just be a weird little, like, throne room. Thrawn doesn't seem like the guy that would need a throne room, but... Or maybe that's Morgan's ship and it's not the Chimera at all. We don't know. But if that is Thrawn's, I'm going to assume it's just some special room he had built that's not the bridge or the command deck. Mm-hmm. It's just where he goes to sit and think about art and listen to classical music.
Thrawn is a classy guy. And he could be like, okay, we've all seen Star Destroyers and what they look like. I'm going to remodel this whole place and make it look cooler.
I like the idea that he has, a private place to go and freak out that no one else can see, and he's just like, oh, I don't know what to do in this battle, like I gotta figure this out, and oh, these people are so smart, I'm never gonna beat them. And then he like composes himself and he walks back out and he's like, perhaps we do this. And they're like, wow, you're so smart, Thrawn.
It's just a soundproof room with like no windows or nothing in there, just a bunch of pillows to yell in and punch.
Just the idea of Thrawn having lost his composure, which has only happened, I think, once in Star Wars Rebels. He kind of like grabs that one officer and gets mad at him.
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea of Thrawn having a little area, a little cone of silence to go freak out in. Just because it's funny to imagine.
He strikes me as someone who like takes boxing lessons or fencing lessons or something like that to take his anger out.
Yeah, I mean, he fought those DT droids in Star Wars Rebels. That seems like his release.
Yeah. Framed Citizen wants to know what the ideal amount of Star Wars content is per year.
So how many movies, how many TV seasons, how many books, how many comics?
I mean, it depends on the person. So our answer is obviously going to be more than the casual person's answer, I think.
mean, I wanted to talk about this just because right now I'm like, there is too much to keep up with. Like, it is our job, and I have not kept up with it all just because it was the Bad Batch, the Mandalorian, Star Wars Celebration.
It was getting to be a little much there for us.
3 books, and it still is. Like, I'm not going to be I'm not going to be done playing catch up until after May 4th, because then we'll have the canon timeline video done, which is taking up a lot of my time. But then I'll be able to really finish Path of Vengeance. And then I think that'll be the last thing that I will have caught up on. But then I'll want to actually sit and read Star Wars timelines. I haven't had a chance to do anything but skim that. So I'm just saying, for someone whose job it is to keep up with Star Wars.
Up.
What?
Self-employed job.
Yeah.
No one's got a blaster to your head that's saying... You have to keep up with all this.
It's my own self-mandated, like, I want to keep up with it all.
So that's on you.
I know, but I'm saying, like, as someone who wants to do that, I still haven't been able to. So just right now, it's a lot.
It is a lot. We should break that down and go deeper.
I'll save that for therapy.
See what that means.
Now a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. I've struggled with stress and anxiety for years. I started going to therapy back in 2012 and have been going off and on ever since. Talking to a therapist has been a huge help for my mental health as well as my professional and personal life, but there's no denying therapy can be expensive and time-consuming. That's where BetterHelp is different. Their services are more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can visit a therapist from the comfort and privacy of your home. When you sign up, you just fill out a questionnaire to help assess your specific needs, and then you get matched with a licensed therapist chosen to meet those needs in as little as 48 hours. BetterHelp offers a broad range of expertise with over 20,000 therapists that can give you access to help that may not be available in your area. Schedule video and phone sessions or message your therapist anytime. If you're not happy with your therapist, you can request a new one at no additional charge. Join the 3 million plus people who have taken charge of their mental health with an experienced BetterHelp therapist. Give online therapy a try at betterhelp.com/SWE and get on your way to being your best self. That's betterhelp.com/SWE.
Okay, so I'm just going to throw some numbers out there. The ideal amount of Star Wars content per year. 1 movie.
Mm-hmm.
3 shows.
Okay. This year we've got The Bad Batch, The Mandalorian, Ahsoka. I'm skeptical Skeleton Crew's going to come out, or at least all the way this year. But there's also Visions and Young Jedi Adventures.
I don't really count those because they release all at once.
Yeah, and then specials.
The weekly release stuff.
Then I think I would agree with you. I think 4 is doable. 3 and having having Bad Batch and Mando on at the same time, that was a lot. So I think 3 feels good.
3 to 4.
So let's do one animated show, 2 live action shows. Feels pretty good.
Yeah. We usually get a show that's kind of like bridging over 2 different years. So like it'll release in December and go through January.
Right. I think Skeleton Crew will do that this year.
Maybe that would count as a 4th show, just kind of bridging the 2 years.
3.5.
3.5.
3.5 shows.
3.75.
I'm going to go with 6 books. I know we definitely get more. 6 to 10.
And is that adult books? Is that young adult? Is that young reader
I guess I'm combining everything.
included?
Yeah.
Yeah, because like with how they've been releasing the High Republic books, they come in waves. It's very like orderly. It's like, here's our plan. It's going to be an adult book, a young adult book, a young reader book, and it's going to come out very like on time and regimented. But then I do miss just like the other random release books. So like we're about to get Delilah Dawson's book.
The Inquisitor one, Rise of the Red Blade.
Yeah, which I'm super excited about. Shadow of the Sith was so fun to read. It's one of my favorites. The Princess and the Scoundrel was really cool. So like I think we'll probably get more books than we think just because of how regimented the High Republic has been. Like they're going to put out their group of books and then hopefully we'll get a few more just like random stories.
Yeah. And now we know High Republic's going through like 2025. They kind of sent out that, not full schedule, but gave us a basic idea. But yeah, like I like 1 book a month about.
Yeah.
I think that works. For comics, I would say about the same. I think I'm going to go 48 comic issues, which again, we get more than that. I'm pretty sure there's like 21 scheduled to come out in May, which is a lot. But like 1 a week, I think is great. 2 a week is fine also, but just having like 1 little Star Wars thing a week to read, and then there'd be 1 episode, then it all builds to 1 movie. Yeah. That feels pretty good.
Do you think going forward they're going to slow down at all on the shows?
I guess that's kind of up in the air. They've been talking about streaming and all that. I think they're probably more likely going to pull back from riskier projects. That's kind of what it sounded like Bob Iger was talking about. What that was like a month or 2 ago, of like something like Willow was a riskier venture for them. It just doesn't have the same brand recognition as Star Wars. So I think they're probably going to keep their focus on Star Wars. I don't know if they're going to ramp up. I doubt it. But I also don't know if they're going to pull back.
I think they have a pretty good plan, and they kind of laid it all out for us at Celebration. So I don't think they're going to necessarily pull back on any of that stuff. Still waiting to hear about Lando.
Yeah, we're getting to the point where the Acolyte's going to come out next year, and or season 2. We're reaching this point where stuff that was announced in 2020, we haven't heard anything beyond that.
Yeah, the droid story too.
Yeah, droid story. Rangers of the New Republic is out, so we're running out of projects that we know about.
Yeah, I saw someone tweet some image of something that they were planning for the Celebration in Japan, and the Lando like logo was in it. I don't know what it was from, but I was like, it would be cool if we got an announcement at the next Celebration.
Not like an official thing.
No.
Oh, okay. I was like, they already have Japan stuff ready to go?
No, but like that would be a good place, I think, to announce it if we're going to have 2 years of all this other new stuff that we just got trailers and announcements for.
Re-announce it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Donald Glover has been playing like the Ewan McGregor game recently, where he's like, oh yeah, it'd be great to play Lando again, which is a non-answer, but it's not like he's saying no.
Mm-hmm. Kyle Barrett asks where the Dial of Destiny could appear in any future Star Wars content. So
I think we have had every MacGuffin of Indiana Jones from all the films pop up in Star Wars somewhere. Got the Ryloth Ark, the Sankara stones were in Luthen's shop, the Holy Grail was in Thrawn's office, and the Crystal Skull was in the Trandoshan trophy room. So the Dial of Destiny is about to be introduced. Could we find it somewhere else?
Maybe in Filoni's movie.
I was going to throw out Mangold's movie.
Well, yeah, that would make sense too.
I think that there's definitely potential, and I think it probably will happen given enough time.
That's a little too on the nose. I don't think he would do
Mangold? Why not? Why not? Wolverine's going to be in Indiana Jones 5. I don't know. I'm kidding. He loves Easter eggs. I don't. You're probably right. He seems like the filmmaker that would not want to be too on the nose. But if it were just sitting in the background, if it's like some archaic looking thing, and it's a 25,000 year in the past movie, if the Prime Jedi just had it on a bookshelf, why not?
Is it just a regular looking dial?
I don't remember. I think we've seen it in the trailers by this point.
Like a compass?
It's like a...
size?
No, I think it got like rotating parts to it. Honestly, I don't remember. I haven't been really studying the trailers for Indy 5. I'm just kind of waiting to see it.
Because the first time I read this question, I thought like, okay, what does the Dial of Destiny do? And I was about to say, we already have the Dial of Destiny. It's the world between worlds. But you're talking about the actual...
Yeah, the device itself.
Piece. Okay.
World Between Worlds does not do time travel. Okay.
It can if it wants to.
No, it can't. That's not how it works. I don't want to do this right now. Another place I was going to throw out was Luthen's shop, because that also, it had the Sankara stones, it also had the fertility idol and Indy's whip. So
easy.
Yeah, it just seems like maybe Tony Gilroy is a big fan of Indiana Jones, and he's like, yeah, put it all in there. Put it in carbonite.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's already been in there and we didn't even notice.
Or it could pop up in a Dr. Aphra story.
That would be a great one, yeah. I mean, Aphra has had several Indiana Jones references as well, so I think we've got a few likely places.
On to YouTube questions. Matthew Kelly asks if Rangers of the New Republic has already been canceled.
Yeah, this question had a bunch of thumbs up on it, so I figured we would take the chance to clear this up. But yeah, it sounds like Rangers of the New Republic has been taken off of the slate and has instead been kind of absorbed by The Mandalorian.
That's what I assumed. I just assumed it was over. Like, there's no more plans to do a show called Rangers of the New Republic. But it sounds like that could be what Mando Season 4 is going to be about, or at least that story may have just been absorbed, like you said, into Din and Grogu's story.
Yes. So I think about a year ago, maybe. I can't remember exactly when, but I think it was in the lead up to Celebration 2022, I think. Kathleen Kennedy said something along the lines of Rangers of the New Republic being removed from the production schedule because they were reworking it to just fit into existing stories. So now seeing Din walk up to one of the Adelphi Rangers, Carson Teva, and say, I want to help you out, I think that he is going to be more involved with the Adelphi Rangers.
Independent contractors of the New Republic.
Exactly, yeah. Bounty hunters of the New Republic or whatever.
Daddies of the New Republic.
Magic babies of the New Republic.
Daddies of the New Republic is a different show.
You got to get Cobb Vanth on for that one.
That one's on Showtime at night. Late at night. Saffron Siddell wants to know if we'll see Thrawn using TIE Defenders in Ahsoka.
I want you to know that I, audibly gasped. I don't know. I went, at the thought of that. Just because I love TIE Defenders and the idea that we might see one in live action.
Have we not already?
In live action? No. Unless you count,
just another ship.
It's a fancy TIE fighter, Molly. It could have brought the rebellion crumbling down.
Could it?
It could. It had shields, Molly.
Ooh.
It had shields.
Wow. We saw Star Destroyers
wings.
with planet-killing technology, and look how easily they got put down.
It has 3 wings on it, not just 2.
I thought we already had those.
They were in Star Wars Rebels, and they were in Star Wars Squadrons, the video game.
Uh-huh.
We have not seen them in live action.
So the fanciest thing is that they have shields and 3 wings.
And they're fast. They were really hard to fight in Squadrons.
Okay. If we'll see Thrawn using them. So
because he in Star Wars Rebels was that was his project.
What happened in Rebels? You have to refresh my memory with that project.
Kanan died blowing it up.
Oh. Well, then maybe not. Unless he was like, all right, let's start from scratch. I want that project done.
That he was kind of fighting with Krennic over resources. Project Stardust was taking money away from the TIE Defender project. So now with the Death Stars gone, I could see Thrawn being like, we need to reinvest in actual good starfighters. And we know that Morgan Elsbeth is like building stuff for him. I guess I assumed it was Star Destroyers, but if she's building TIE Defenders, like that does seem like the kind of thing Filoni would do.
Yeah. I say yes, because you're so excited for the ships.
Thank you.
And plus, we've seen in Andor, they're still doing these like crazy mining projects all over the galaxy, potentially ruining other planets. They don't care. But I think if for the storytelling purposes, if they wanted to say like, oh yeah, we found the resources elsewhere and started the project over again, I think that would be fine.
I think there's definitely...
Kanan's Force Ghost would be pissed though.
Yeah, I mean, deservedly so. But he bought the rebellion time basically, and so did Ezra, removing Thrawn from the table. So now that he's back, he could bring his strategies back, or he will bring his strategies back, and part of that involved the TIE Defender at one point. So I'm like, could happen.
Okay, I found a reason for me to be excited about it. That would make for a cool story point for Hera.
Yeah, that's true.
Where she's like, nah, I'm taking all these out.
Yeah, yeah. And she flew against them, and that was kind of a big deal, but also because she lost Kanan in that, she would really not want to see that project return. Yeah, that's a good character reason to bring it back. Good job.
It's a good story
I was
reason,
just over here like,
new
ships, 3
shields.
wings, shields,
It's
fast,
cool, it's
fast,
fast.
zoom, pew, pew.
We got our intro. Jocasta Didn't Know asks if live-action stories are starting to supersede animated stories in Star Wars.
Kind of as we're talking about Ahsoka, and this feels very much like a follow-up to Star Wars Rebels. And for the longest time, Star Wars Rebels was rumored to have an animated kind of sequel series or spiritual successor or something along those lines, and that never came to pass. So are we trading more animated stories for live action?
I think so.
I think we probably are too.
Because no matter how much we will gush and everyone else will gush about how good the animated shows are, the casual viewer will always see them as kid shows.
Yeah, it really does take a lot of convincing for some fans to give the Clone Wars or the Bad Batch or Rebels a try. Star Wars Resistance is very much a kid's show, I would say. And a lot of them start that way. Clone Wars started as a kid's show much more than it was by season even 3.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that there's always that tendency for fans, because I had that tendency when I was in my early 20s of like, I don't know, Star Wars cartoon, I don't think it's for me. And I was wrong, but it took me some convincing.
Mm-hmm. Now we're animation snobs, and it's great.
Yeah.
Join us.
Yeah. Now it's like, oh man, the animated side of Star Wars gives you so much that live action does not. It gets to be so weird sometimes in the best way. And I guess I'm hopeful that Ahsoka doesn't lose that weirdness. I don't really think it will. The trailer seems like it's potentially going to do some weird stuff.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of the fans that grew up watching Rebels and Clone Wars are older now. So I think that stuff will carry over, and those fans will understand any weirdness and celebrate it. And I think Filoni knows that.
And I hope every live action series does encourage some people to dive deeper. I hope that Ahsoka in The Mandalorian season 2 made some people go, wait, who's this Jedi? Wait, she was whose Padawan?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I gotta see this. And then they watched Clone Wars and hopefully fell in love with it. Like, I hope a lot of these animated characters popping up, or book characters like Cobb Vanth. Like, I always love seeing people take the next step in their Star Wars journey beyond just like, I watched the movies and The Mandalorian and that's about it.
Yeah. I mean, the High Republic fans that know we're getting Vanessa Rowe in live action and The Acolyte, come on.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
The idea that The Acolyte could be an inroad for people to be like, oh, this era is really neat. There's more. I'll check out the books. Okay. Like, So I do see what they're saying, though, is that I feel like I don't know, kind of the same way we're running out of projects that have been announced. Like the Acolyte is, after the Acolyte, I don't know what's coming. After the Bad Batches last season, I don't know what's coming next. And I hope there is more Star Wars animation on the horizon.
Just wait until we start talking about Visions Volume 2. You won't be able to get us to shut up about it.
But even that is like, they're great shorts. There's 9 of them and they're over. Like, watch them all in a day and then like I'll be hungry for more animation.
You can watch them all every day. Alexander Kinnison and Be My BFF both want to know what happened to the baby dinosaur birds in The Mandalorian. I also wondered this, and I brought it up in our last live stream, and a shocking amount of people in chat were like, oh, you didn't see? They cooked and ate them.
They didn't.
And I was like, excuse me, what?
They didn't. I refuse to believe that. And I was looking at, I remember the bird thing on the spit roast. That's one of the creatures from Navarro that fly around, and they took the blurgs in season 1 and they scratched and poisoned Grief Karga. That's what that was. I don't know that I would eat that. If
you gotta cook the poison people out, yeah.
I can't like 100% confirm that. That's just what I'm in my head canon, in my heart. I'm like, they did not kill those baby birds, because that just thematically goes against that episode of being like, I brought you some more foundlings to train and take care of. We didn't just let these babies die just because nature ran its course and a big turtle dinosaur ate the baby bird or the big bird. Mm-hmm. Like, we're gonna take care of these helpless babies. They're not gonna turn around and eat them.
Right. So I guess I'm trying to make something up in my head then. I'm gonna assume that they left them with the proper caretakers on Navarro, and they will help protect the city there.
I do think we will see them again. I think it's a little weird we didn't see them a second time at the end of the season. Like, if you're gonna show that, hey, we're cooking a bird for a big feast, like, don't also show us the baby birds and be like, it wasn't that bird.
They're either on Navarro or they took them to Mandalore with them to like train them and maybe ride them or something. But like, if you really think too deeply about it, you're like, well, if that's not their, home environment, are they going to do well on another planet? And what if they only eat this like certain kind of fish or food on that planet? And I don't want to think about it too much. I think we'll see them again. I think we'll see them again, bigger and like trained to ride on Mandalore. Maybe that would be cool.
Yeah, I think that is the setup, and we will get payoff, and we will see them riding these things.
We'll see Ragnar riding one.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
In season 4.
I like that. Honestly, I thought we were going to see them being ridden this season, even though that would have been like a crazy fast turnaround, but Favreau doesn't seem to care.
They're
like,
just a baby.
If you look at Navarro and the town and how fast it's grown, and it looks so great compared to season 1. The Timelines book says all of the Mandalorian so far and the Book of Boba Fett, it's been 1 year, if that. Like, it all takes place in the same year.
That's wild.
So yeah, it is wild. So I was kind of like,
Star Wars is wild.
If Favreau wants the Mandalorians to be riding these birds in 2 episodes, like, okay, I'm just gonna let it happen.
They have a growth spurt. Why not?
Yeah, but I do not think that they ate them. I'll give you an image of the cooked bird, and people can decide for themselves. But I don't think they ate those birds.
They couldn't have been big enough to be the same birds.
I agree.
Right?
They didn't eat them.
Yeah.
That's all the time we have for questions today. If you want to leave a question for next week's video, just put it in the comments below or sign up for Patreon to join our weekly Q&A discussion. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel.
Ooh. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
And as always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.